Hey guys, this is Cam for 15 back out with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another Bleach Arc Reviews as we are coming down to the second to last arc for the anime. And yes, it's another filler arc. And that is the Gotei 13 invasion arc. Now, again, just like the last video, um, this is another filler arc that I wanted to cover before I ended up getting to the final arc, the final main canon arc of the anime for Bleach. Before the Thousand Year Blood War arc anime comes out for Bleach, and this arc was I thought this arc was solid. Honestly, did like this arc. I can see where people would have issues with this arc. Um, but all altogether, I did seemingly like this arc. I thought it was fairly cool, and I thought the main villain was actually really damn interesting. Now, nor do I think he was. I think the main best filler character or the main best filler villain had to be Muramasa. I think I like him a little bit slightly more than Kagarosa, but Kagarosa kind of honestly is it is maybe a close second. I don't know. I don't know where I would rank. Maybe one of these days I'll rank my thoughts on the filler villains, because I thought some of the filler villains were fine for what they were all. I think Muramasa was the one guy that outshined most of them because, well, most of them were kind of just wronged by everything. But Muramasa had a complex reason as to why he was doing what he was doing. But um yes, the Gotei 13 invasion arc. Well, what is this arc pretty much about now? If you're watching the anime, this arc pretty much takes place after the Fate Karakura Town arc, after everything that has happened with the Battle of Aizen. And yeah, now we have it to where we see Ichigo. We already know Ichigo is seemingly back to normal, but his Soul Reaver powers could potentially disappear at any moment. So that's the whole thing. And with the fact that I'm currently watching the Fullbringer arc right now, I can clearly see how much it actually hurts Ichigo, and I can't wait to see when eventually he will find a way to get his Soul Reaver powers back. But in the meantime, where the main villain is centered around now, the main premise of this arc pretty much is centered around this girl we have confined pretty much just out in the middle of nowhere in the world of the living, by the name of this girl called Nozomi. Now, Nozomi is kind of, I guess you can say, the MacGuffin character, the damsel in distress character of this arc. I will say at first, and it's kind of how I kind of felt like, in my opinion, with Ruichiro, the princess girl, from the new Captain Shusuke Amagai arc. I did find her fairly annoying at some points, especially the fact that she was constantly running away. And I'm just like, dude, what is this girl doing, bro? Like, these guys, Ichigo and his friends are pretty much telling her that, guess what? We want to help. And mind you, like I said, I think I said one of my criticisms from my last arc review, which was the last filler arc review, the Zanpakuto Rebellion arc review. I said an issue I had with that is the fact that Ichigo's friends are pretty much just not even doing shit. They're just there. Hell, even freaking Kisuke doesn't do shit. Um, and this arc, that absolutely changes. Kisuke actually does shit. Ichigo's friends actually do shit, alongside Ichigo and the other Soul Reapers, because it's kind of the fight's kind of brought to them, and it's kind of a whole thing. But Nozomi, I did find a little bit to be a little bit annoying at first, but then I started to grow to like her character, and her whole character arc she has in this arc was pretty much about trust, having pretty much having trust with people she would call friends, and getting this whole thing. And this is also kind of Kagarosa's kind of whole character arc, is the fact that the reason why he felt all this rage and anger towards Soul Reapers is because he felt lonely. And Nozomi pretty much found out that she had friends, and that together, with her friends, with Ichigo and the others, she can be strong, and she can become and she can become powerful, instead of always being alone trying to be on the run. Now she has, I guess you can say, a relationship with Cone, and if I'm being honest, this is probably the arc that Cone probably does the most absolute most in. Now, if you know Cone's character, he's your typical perverted character that seemingly enough can get annoying. Now, Cone, with me in Bleach, I'm kind of indifferent. I don't really, in some cases, I like him, just because I think his comedy's funny as hell. In other cases, I don't really like him because I don't think he's wanted. He's kind of mixed bag in my opinion. He's definitely overused to the standpoint of this arc. Now, mostly with the fact that the mod souls tie into this, and the fact that he can relate to Kagarosa and Nozomi because they're both mod souls. They did it to where they, I guess, have a whole character arc with Cone on never giving up on Nozomi, and even damn near fighting in his stuffed animal body. Now, if you watch this arc, if you're not a fan of Cone, you may not like him, and you may not like the presence he has a fitting, or he has fit in this arc, and you actually might find him a little bit more annoying. In some cases, I was fine with him, but in other cases, I can understand why people say no, he didn't need to be here. He was just 10 times more annoying. And I can definitely understand, and I honestly kind of somewhat agree. I don't think he needed to be in this arc like damn near 100%, but I understand the reason why the people who did this arc, the anime, the reason why they did this arc is because it's a whole thing of he's a mod soul, he can relate to Nozomi a lot, and they pretty much, I guess you can say, build some sort of weird love angle relationship between the two, which I guess in a way you make it to where like Nozomi falls for Cone, who is pretty much in a stuffed animal's body. So that's not weird enough. And even then, you kind of do have some Ichigo X Nozomi moments, but that's morally plutonic and everything. But the thing is, the main villain Kagero, or the thing is, we find out that some Soul Reapers go into the precipice world to pretty much go to the world of the living, but they end up being attacked. And pretty much the lead scientist in Squad 12, or the research and development with Mayuri, one of his, I guess you could say, right hand men, in his research and development squad, Kagarozu, Kagarosa, he's pretty much the main lead who knows pretty much everything about the precipice world. And he pretty much sets up that we end up finding out he's the main villain of this arc, because at first it looked like Ichigo was the person, because Ichigo and Rukia go to the Soul Society to find out what's going on there. And pretty much the Gotei 13 members, or the squad captains, they pretty much think, oh, it's Ichigo who's the bad guy again. I know he freaking helped us out with Aizen, but of course he has to be the one that did all this nonsense of the disappearance of our Soul Reapers. Oh God. Can these filler arcs stop with this BS that it's always Ichigo's fault for getting them into these situations? Hell, if it's any of these damn arcs in Bleach, why do they always gotta blame freaking Ichigo? Why do they always gotta blame Ichigo? And where I'm at the freaking Fullbringer arc with him training, and our only thing I know, him getting a freaking message, apparently a message from his freaking his Soul Reaper badge, of why would Ichigo trust the enemy? I hope they don't do this plot line of the Soul Reapers are like, oh, Ichigo's the enemy. We got to take him out. We got to question him. I don't understand why they got to take this freaking physical approach. Like they got to bring the guy in and have to go fight this guy. Why not just talk to this guy and say, hey, what's going on here? Are you the main culprit for these Soul Reaper disappearances? And guess what? Why do they not even trust Ichigo to begin with? He literally saved your asses in the last arc with Aizen. If not for Ichigo pretty much sacrificing everything, guess what? You all would have been dead. Aizen would have won at the end of the day, and he would have probably been the most stoppable character, and would have remade the entire world in his own image. But yeah, let's blame Ichigo. Even that, and that's funny because they even make a line like, they make a line saying, "Well, he did stop Aizen for us." Yeah, he did, but it doesn't matter. We still can't trust him. I don't understand how many arcs they had done this whole plot line that the Soul Society sees Ichigo as a villain. But, like, come on, you cannot be this damn gullible. At least freaking, at least, no, not Shusuke, crap, I forgot his freaking name. Hold on, I'm gonna find him. They're Gotei 13 squad captains. Jeez Louise. My goodness. Trying to find him. Ukitake. Like, Ukitake is the only one's like, I don't know about this. Some things feel sus. Him and his boy Shunsui, they both feel like something's up. Now the thing is, we find out that the true main villain is Kaguraza, and apparently he's hunting a Nozomi. Now we find out he sends these fake Soul Reapers called Reigai, who pretty much are just like the Soul Reapers, but they say that they're stronger and then they're more aggressive and hostile. And they only take orders from Kaguraza. We later find out that the Reigai are pretty much mod souls as well. And you kind of get this whole thing of, it's kind of a cat and mouse game where they have to protect Nozomi. Yeah, I will say to its negative, it does drag on a bit with this whole cat and mouse chase game scene. It doesn't really pick up till Nozomi actually gets captured, and Ichigo and company have to pretty much go to the Soul Society to save her. Now, the one thing about the Reigai is cool is you kind of get to see some members of the Soul Society actually going up against one another. But mostly you see the same characters, like for example Kenpachi fighting his Reigai version of himself. So you really, and which kind of sucks because it didn't come up with a bunch of creativity matchups. Like you literally just have the real Soul Reapers fighting against their Reigai selves. Like you could have did so many, like, oh, what if battles with the Reigai versus another squad captain, even though a few arcs ago they already did, this whole hinting of the fact of especially in the my last video, they did the whole Byakuya versus Kenpachi fight. I know they did that in that arc, but shit, you could have did it again, or maybe you could have had it to where Shunsui or Ukitake takes on Kenpachi and see how he fares. You did get some unique matchups, like you did get Mayuri versus Reigai Unohana, which it was absolutely hilarious because we know Mayuri does not like Unohana one bit because Unohana pretty much figures him out across the way all the time. But that's kind of the thing there. Now, there also too is a bunch of bait and switches. We do think a few times the squad captains actually end up dying, but in the final portion of this arc, they end up being all okay. Yorichi looks like she gets freaking, killed like 2 times in this arc. But no, she ends up being alive still. A lot of bait and switches. Nothing that I'm wrong with it, but that's the whole thing there. Another element of this arc is the fact that Ichigo's whole power is obviously diminishing. And, he's not as strong as he once was. He still has the power, but his power is pretty much draining. And that's kind of the whole thing. And eventually gets to a part of the arc where when they're fighting to protect Nozomi, and before she ends up getting captured, Kaguraza pretty much ends up capturing Nozomi. and stopping Ichigo and Kon. And because of we find out that Ichigo lost his Soul Reaper powers. Now, due to thanks to a theory Kisuke pretty much brings up. In a way, I guess you can say Ichigo goes into the precipice world, goes and gets absorbed by the cleaner to grab pretty much his energy source to revive him as a Soul Reaper. He manages to do that, comes back out, and at the same time too, he also saved his past self, which was also explained. Um, Everything, which is like, I guess you can say, a fixed point in time that it was supposed to happen. And that's another thing. They make it to where the precipice world has a different like time span than the living world. And that's how Kagarosa was able to get the upper hand on most the squad captains. But you have this whole arc where they invade the Soul Society to be able to help Ichigo get his Soul Reaper powers back in the form of a mod soul, pretty much, or a mod soul candy. And they end up doing that, but the thing is, it wasn't completed because Kagarosa came up on their plans, and more of the hollow side of Ichigo came out. And you see him turn into that big bulking hollow we saw, in the canon arcs and everything. So that was pretty cool to see. It is still kind of weird that a mod soul was able to give Ichigo's his Soul Reaper powers back, because it's like, wait, I thought you said like when his powers are gone, his powers are gone. I do like how they showed like when his Soul Reaper powers are gone, instead of having a black pretty much kimono or a robe, it's just all white, like as if it was his hollow, if it was like hollow Ichigo within his psyche. So I thought that was pretty cool. But I'll talk about the climax of this arc in a bit. Other things pretty much in this arc is, like I said, we find out that Nozomi and Kagarosa are pretty much mod souls. And we find out that the mod souls of a Soul Reaper that was once both of them fused as one. Now, I forgot the Soul Reaper's name, but we get a flashback to this guy, and pretty much this guy was aspiring to be a Soul Reaper. But the thing is, his squad, the other squad mates never thought he was up to the billing, because he pretty much was assigned to this one squad, but all of a sudden he gets called in this meeting to where he ended up being assigned to squad 12, research and development. And the reason why they saw him, because the reason why they did it, because they felt the Soul Society felt like he wasn't really a combat heavy character, and he wasn't good at combat. So they're like, but you're a very smart individual. You can use your brains to do what you need to do. So that's when he ended up coming up with this plan, and it's pretty much making these mod souls. Now, ultimately, it was a way to have pretty much the Soul Reapers have another version of protectors for them. But Central 46 or Central 47, I keep forgetting, one of the two numbers, they pretty much didn't like this plan that this guy had in place, and they pretty much shut down his whole operation, said you need to stop you need to stop this creation of this plan. You had this mod souls plan you have and pretty much it got to the point where this guy felt like nobody really respected his opinion, nobody ever really listened to him, and he felt truly alone, like he was on his own. And he pretty much, in a way, created he pretty much implemented his ideals into the mod soul body of Kagarosa, while Nozomi, when she explained it to Kon, when Kon is trying to save her from almost being fused, the thing is, we find out that Nozomi is the good half of that same Soul Reaper, while Kagarosa was the one half of the Soul Reaper that was wanting to get back at the Soul Society for everything that they did to him. And things happen. We have fights. I did like how Kisuke actually ends up fighting in this arc. It was really freaking dope. That we got to see him fight, like, and seemingly enough, he felt like he's serious. So I don't know. I'm guessing they were hinting at for the future the fact that Kisuke is going to get involved in more fights and everything. But I definitely did enjoy that. From the standpoint, it was really freaking cool to see. It was really freaking cool to see, and I definitely did enjoy watching Kisuke pretty much fight. So yeah, but like I said, you know, the thing is, eventually the end of the arc comes, and the reasoning we find out the reason why Kaguraza did that because he wanted to fuse Nozomi in his bodies to make that same Soul Reaper again with pretty much unlimited power. Now the thing is, the interesting point is the fact that they eventually, it's until the revelation of the mod soul that they're mod souls. They don't really give off any spirit and energy. But eventually we find out how when um Nozomi wants to protect people she cares about and people she deems as friends, she ends up having the power of a Soul Reaper, and she ends up having her Soul Reaper powers unlocked. Pretty much her Soul Reaper powers, because then there's this huge fight with Captain Yamamoto and Kaguraza. She ends up getting in this fight, and we find out that her Zanpakuto powers is pretty much the fact that she can absorb spiritual energy and pretty much reflected back right back at the characters, and it actually I think doubles the power that it originally did, which is kind of honestly a broken ass ability if you think about it, because all she can do is she can absorb your spiritual energy, throw it right back at you, and it can be the attack power can be pretty much amplified because of it than what it originally was. So it goes to show, but she ends up being captured because Kaguraza, which is kind of an issue too. There was like many times in this arc where Kaguraza was absolutely dead set defeated right then and there. He was down for the count. He was defeated. And of course, he somehow found a way to get out of it. It got absolutely, and that's another thing that kind of got annoying. Like, I really hate it where a villain's kind of in a part where, okay, there's no way that they can win here, and they end up being put in a situation, but all of a sudden, you in a way there's someone getting an ass pull of the reasoning how they get out of situations so they don't end up dying. And again, it's this whole thing of Kaguraza was kind of this more this villain that was smarter than the characters, than the hero characters. And it's like, dude, especially the Mayuri fight, he should have been dead right then and there, because Mayuri pretty much injected him with a poison that pretty much disabled him, and it looked like he was gonna die. But all of a sudden, that's when we kind of get the revelation about the mod souls stuff, and the fact that the Ray guy were mod souls, and he kind of switches out with a Ray guy and everything, and he gets out of that situation. Now he still is in a weakened state, but regardless, he still gets out of there, like, and he doesn't die. And I'm like, dude, I feel like I feel like when they put Kaguraza in these death situations and they found some ass pull way to get him out of it, it kind of ruined it, because it's like this guy was always coming up with this crazy way to get out of this situation. Like, dude found some way. Like, you would think going against Captain Yamamoto, he would absolutely freaking find a way to, or he would not, there would be no way he would win. He somehow finds a way to actually badly damage him, mostly because Nozomi gets in the way, which was kind of freaking annoying and everything. And that even in that fight, she was annoying from the standpoint. She was like, "Oh, I want to help people. I want to help you guys," but everyone's like, "No, you don't need to help. Just run away and go get to safety." And even Yamamoto's like, "No, get out of here. I'll take this." And I'm like, "How can you not trust the head captain? He's like the strongest Soul Reaper." Well, Aizen pretty much defeated him, so well, regardless, he's the strongest Soul Reaper out there, and you're not listening to him. And he pretty much takes most of the blow because Nozomi tries to protect him and tries to do this. This ends up bringing her Zanpakuto in half because it was too much of the power she had to absorb. And that kind of becomes the whole chase scene. And she ends up getting captured. Like I said, I already discussed about the whole Ichigo losing his Soul Reaper powers, and then finding a way to get them back. But they raid the Soul Society. And we find out an interesting thing about the Ray guy. They pretty much go against what their code is, what the standard Soul Reaper code is, what their originals go against, and they're willing to gang up on people. And if they see somebody who's in a weakened state, they'll just gang up and attack them to break formation. But that's when the Soul Yoriichi, who pretty much finds this out, she pretty much says, "Well, you don't want to go against your code," and they pretty much have where the Soul Reapers work together, because they have their pride to protect what means most of them, and that's the Soul Society. And eventually we have the where Yamamoto comes back, even though Unohana said like He really doesn't. His injuries are bad. That's another thing. It was actually cool to see, even though it wasn't really the real Captain Unohana, because for some reason I feel like they're hiding something from her. The same thing goes with Yachiru. I don't know what's going on, but I feel like Yachiru is a lot stronger than she looks, and even Captain Unohana is a lot stronger than what she looks because they're purposely hiding them. So I don't know in Thousand Year Blood War or maybe the Fullbringer arc they fight, but it's more probably going to happen in the Thousand Year Blood War arc. But I appreciate the fact that we actually got to see, even though it was the Ray Guy version, we got to see Unohana fight and actually see what she brings. We still don't know what her Zanpakuto is. Heck, they didn't even freaking focus on that in her freaking in the freaking Zanpakuto Rebellion arc. And I feel like they're just doing that to hide it for a reason. So it's gonna be very interesting to see where this is gonna go. But what happens is, like I said, Kagarosa wants to fuse. He ends up actually doing that because one of his Ray Guy ends up stopping Cone from trying to stop Nozomi from almost trying to break out and everything. And it was kind of this whole thing. And also, too, you kind of have, like, in this whole thing, it's kind of a whole thing of, the power of friendship will overcome all. And, you won't be alone because of power of friendship. And that's kind of the thing, the moral of this whole thing that Kagarosa ends up understanding at the end of the day, that the power of friendship triumphs over all. So if you hate that trope, well, then you might not like that. So yeah, Ichigo has his fight with Kagarosa in his fused body. But the thing is, he can feel Nozomi, and he's actually talking to Nozomi, and Nozomi actually sometimes gets control of the body. But she's telling Ichigo, he has to kill her to stop him, but Ichigo doesn't want to do it because they came here to save her. But typically with these filler characters, they typically end up dying. But the thing is, what happens is Ichigo ends up, stopping Kagurosa, and pretty much tells him, like, listen, and it's kind of an emotional thing after they stopped this one gigantic attack, that he was about to use to destroy the entire Soul Society. But the thing is with Kagarosa, he's wondering, like, why you keep coming after me and why do you keep getting stronger and everything. And that's kind of, and the whole thing is the fact that, it's they're telling him, Ichigo pretty much tells him, like, listen, it's because I want to protect my friends and I care about them. And ultimately, I'm never alone when they're by my side. And that's kind of the lesson Kagarosa pretty much realizes, the fact that, friendship is always there, and having friends will always make you stronger as opposed to being alone. Typical, friendship, power of friendship moment and stuff like that. El Cone friggin' says, that's the power of friendship. And I'm just like, okay, yeah, cool. So yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing. And then the last episode of this arc before you get into the Fullbringer arc, which, I don't know if they have that in the manga. I would have to check that in a review or something like that. But the last episode of the arc pretty much centers around Ichigo. He's pretty much losing his Soul Reaper powers on at a massive rate. Like, he can't even do his quick step anymore. He's actually being very surprised, and hollows are actually doing damage on him. And we have it to where Ukitake calls Rukia, telling him, like, he's losing his Soul powers at a alarming rate. So pretty much in a day or two, he's gonna be out of he's gonna be out of his spiritual energy. And you have this kind of Ichigo already knew that. And you have one more fight with Ichigo and Rukia, where Rukia sets him up to do what you would say his last Getsugo Tensho, as his solar powers are, pretty much disappearing. He wakes up, all his friends are there, and pretty much you have this very emotional scene, to where Ichigo has lost his Soul Reaper powers. And you see, as he's losing Soul Reaper powers, he can't see Rukia, so he can't see any more spirits. Like, he can't see any more hollows, no more of the Soul Reapers. But Rukia says, I'll always check in on you every now and then to see what's going on. So, I'll always be there. And it's a fairly emotional scene as Ichigo is saying goodbye to Rukia with what we think is the last time, but we know it isn't the last time because he's gonna find some way to get his Soul Reaper powers back. And yeah, but that's where the arc ends. But morally, the arc ends after Kagura's defeat. That last part I just made a mention, probably just in the Fullbringer arc. But ultimately, I did like this arc. There are some issues with this arc, but I ultimately did get enjoyment. I did think Kagura as a villain was actually a solid villain. I still don't like the fact that he had these like near-death situations he got out of it. I do think the arc was kind of dragged on. I do think the arc was kind of dragged on a bit. And it went a little bit way too long with everything that was going on there. And the story really didn't pick up till really the back half of the ending of the climax of the arc. Nozomi as the MacGuffin damsel in distress character, I didn't like her at first, but I eventually grew to like her as the arc grew on. And then I just like the involvement of pretty much every damn character we knew to this point. Hell, we even freaking get Kukaku coming back, bro. When it looked like the Soul Reapers were stopped by Kagura after it looked like he was dead by gonna be killed, we found out from Yoriichi because after that fight, we all think the Soul Reaper captains are all dead. No, we find out from Yoriichi the real way that they're still alive is the fact that Kukaku actually came in and actually saved their asses. And I'm like, holy shit, they really did use a character we haven't seen for fucking arcs, man. We haven't seen Kukaku for arcs, man. We haven't seen Kukaku. Damn, shit. Since the freaking Bound arc? If you're talking about anime version, if you're talking about, I think, manga version, you haven't seen her since, I think, the Soul Society arc. Damn, talk about a misused character, bro. And I know she's not on the level of the Soul Reapers, but damn, she doesn't really do shit. So I actually like that approval of the fact that, no, they used Kukaku, they healed up at her place, and even though we barely saw her, guess what? She at least contributed, so they pretty much damn near use every damn character. So yeah. But overall, I did like this arc. This is probably my second favorite arc, to be honest. I did enjoy it. So yeah, honestly, I think the back half filler arcs for Bleach were actually fairly solid compared to the first couple of filler arcs at the start of the series, which I just thought were bad. But I definitely did like where the Zanpakuto Rebellion arc and the Gotei 13 Invasion arc were good. I thought they were good story arcs for filler arcs. Some people may not think they are, but I honestly got some enjoyment out of it, and I actually did like it. Which is shocking that it seemingly like later back half of Bleach seemed like the anime understood how to do their filler better, but it is what it is. But anyways, if you guys like the video, leave a like, put in the comment section your thoughts on the Gotei 13 Invasion arc, as well as hit the subscribe button. You want to get more Bleach content, as we're technically winding down on Bleach. I only have pretty much a few more Bleach videos I got to do. I got the last review, which is my Fullbringer arc review. Then I actually do want to talk about the movies, give my thoughts on the movies. And then guess what? 1,000-Year Blood War arc anime will be here, and I'll be doing weekly reviews for that. Hopefully it's weekly reviews. Apparently, if Bleach is going to Disney Plus. God dang it. But anyways, hit the subscribe button if you want to get more Bleach content or their anime content upload to the channel. And yeah, but next time, I'll be talking about the last canon arc in the anime version for Bleach. I won't be talking 1,000-Year Blood War arc, because I want to wait and see the anime for that. Because hey, if the anime is right around the corner, I can wait a few more months, or a month pretty much. And October will be here, and then I can review the Bleach anime for the 1,000-Year Blood War arc, and then stuff like that. But next time will be the final canonical arc in the anime, and that is the Fullbringer arc, where we get pretty much a year time skip. And Ichigo has no Soul Reaper powers, and it looks like with where I'm at, he's trying to get them back. But anyways, guys, I'm gonna catch you guys in the next video. Till then, guys, stay safe out there and have a great rest of your day or night in the field. Till then, guys, peace.